So I went to Epic Universe this week in Orlando.
Okay. All right. That's a oxymoron, but okay, go ahead.
Well, so at Epic Universe,
Yeah.
so lots of things, and we could talk about them if you want, but
Sure.
specifically for this opening,
Yeah.
here's what freaked me out. I want to get your take.
Okay.
On the Harry Potter ride, you have to put your things in a locker. And generally, when you choose a locker, you put in a code or whatever, you get the locker with your face. So I had to just stand in front. It said, "You want a locker?" I hit the button, and then it got a picture of my face, and then the door opened. Ah! And I go put my stuff in, and
your face is going to be what unlocks the locker.
So I'm done with the ride, which was fantastic. And I come over here, and I'm like, "Oh!" And I hit the thing, and then I just stand there, and all of a sudden, ah! I was a little weirded out. I was just, and by the way, everything is done with your face. Because if you, and I didn't have a fast pass or anything like that, but for people that were in the fast pass line, some of them had like wristbands and other things, but it seemed like a lot of them they just took the face in the face.
Disneyland now brought to you by Palantir and JD Vance.
Well, it's not Disneyland; it's Universal, but it's Universal. Probably doing it. Disney.
Isn't it the same thing?
Doesn't like the whole getting the Big Brother thing just getting to you? Isn't it too much?
Yeah, it is. I mean, look, I'm a full participant in TSA pre and all that kind of stuff with the facial stuff. So it's like I'm in the system.
You've given it. You've already given. You're like, I'm in. I'm done.
But what are you going to do? Not participate? I mean, you don't have a choice. You will be participating. I mean, you will be assimilated is the new motto of our sort of facial recognition environment.
And you can't assimilate out unless you
can't opt out.
Change your face. Like you'd have to do some major work on your face to get out of the system.
Which ironically is kind of the MAGA way, right? To do all those things to your face, basically.
You had to go.
Well,
I was what? You literally had to go there.
Yeah,
I can't now. Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I got nothing after. After that. There we go.
And now for your listening pleasure, here's Pulizzi and Rose, covering the week of media, marketing, and digital content news. Take it away, boys.
Well, hello, friends. Welcome to This Old Marketing, proudly brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. And I'm Robert Rose. And with me, as always, is my friend, my co-host, and a guy who treats me like Punch treats his plushie toy, Mr. Joe Pulizzi.
What I say? Here you go.
Yeah. You have no reference. You have no reference for that, do you?
I thought you were going to say Punch and Judy.
No. Punch is a legend on the internet right now. Punch. You don't know Punch. This is
tell me. I don't know. I literally have been going on. I was in your favorite city in the world, Orlando, this week.
Okay. Yeah.
So I have no idea. Nobody pays attention to anything in Florida.
That's true.
They are on the internet, but they don't know it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's Punch? Tell me what Punch.
Well, Punch is very famous. Punch is a little monkey. He's a little baby monkey who got internet famous about a month ago because he was in the little monkey pen in Japan, and all of the big monkeys were beating up on him as a baby monkey. And so the caretakers at the zoo gave Punch a plushie toy of a monkey that he immediately started treating like his mom, and basically curled up with it. And it was the most adorable thing ever. And he became sort of internet famous on Instagram and on TikTok and on YouTube. You can go look at Punch videos, watch Punch, and he got better because basically the monkeys accepted him. So now Punch is accepted and he's got some friends. And then he had some trouble. And lately he's been a lot better. Punch has been a lot better, but he's an internet star.
This is exactly the reason why I took TikTok and Instagram and Facebook off.
But this is what the internet is made for. Punch is what the internet is made for, not the other crap.
I don't know if that adds to your life. Is this
Punch?
Yes,
life. Yeah, Punch adds to my life. I love Punch. Don't at me about Punch.
I'm just saying. It's just this. I don't even know what kind of version of the Matrix we're living in right now. That's where we're at.
Yeah. Punch. Well, there's a lot more that is happening on the internet that is.
That's all. Other than that, it's pretty quiet.
Yeah, I mean, really nothing going on really. If you
literally nothing going on. It's funny because I'm actually finishing up my newsletter for today. It will come out today, and it was going to be another AI article, and I said I can't do it. I'm so close to this thing. It's like when you're just looking at one wave, and you don't realize that there's the ocean. Out there. Right. And all I'm doing, I'm just looking at that one wave, and I don't see anything else. I said I'm way too close to this, which probably will show when we talk about
you've seen that post that's going around. It's yet another post that's going around, but this one's going around on LinkedIn, so you might have actually seen it, where they show how few people actually have and think about generative AI in their lives. It's like a tiny percentage of people, right? We are so inside baseball when it comes to this stuff. It's like, it's not even crazy. Yeah.
I don't doubt that. I mean, I talked to some people this week who don't know anything about it other than what they had heard from the headlines on whatever nightly news show that they watch.
Yeah.
So and generally it's a negative. It's like, oh no, AI.
Sure.
They don't know they don't know. That doesn't mean anything. It's just like, oh no, it's bad. AI.
It sounds bad. Yeah.
It sounds bad. It sounds bad. So
yeah. Well, they know and we will get to this in a bit, but all they know is that it's taking jobs of some kind, right?
It's taking all the jobs.
Yeah. Hashtag all the jobs.
And it's like the grandkids are in trouble.
Yeah.
Like exactly. I feel that's kind of where
right.
What is my grandbaby gonna do?
That's right.
Because the AI is gonna take the job.
Well, that and the sort of fake videos that you're now seeing all over Facebook, like all the fake, dog stuff and all the fake, there's an AI video going around that, these, dogs choosing their owners. And it's this adorable video of dogs picking their owners in shelters. And it's like, no, but that's AI. And then there's another video of this, and there's another video of that. And it's basically, it's so hard to tell anymore. Like, I mean, we talked about this, 2 years ago. We talked about the deep fake and the risk of deep fake. And what has happened is instead of sort of a big switch getting flipped, like kind of everybody thought would happen, it's been this sort of slow burn where just sort of slowly over time, we've started to see the fake videos sort of creep in. And it's almost more insidious that way, right? Where it's like, you don't really, it's the whole boiling frog in water thing. You don't really know it's happening until all of a sudden one day you wake up and you're like, everything is now AI video. It's like, it's a little nutty.
Gradually, then suddenly. I wrote a little part of an article, which is not out yet, but because I'm trying to talk to people about what's going on with AI, and we just get these little signals, many of which we'll actually talk about today. But I said it reminds me very, very much of what happened in 2000 to 2003 with publishing.
Oh, totally. 100%.
It was because the first one was, hey, that it's it's Craigslist. It's the internet. Yeah, it's the internet's fault. It's Google.
Right. That's
whatever. Right. And then we're like, they're blaming it on those things, but it wasn't really. It was about they couldn't adjust to change and whatever. And then all of a sudden, one here, and then dominoes. They just all started to fall at once. And that's where I'm like you and I have talked about whether or not we're in an AI bubble. And I don't know if we are or not, but you can see the signals happen. Oh, this research report comes out and Block says this and whatever. And you're like, well, it's not really AI, but we're seeing the signals.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, we will talk about that very thing for our big story. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You can go through. Why don't you
all right.
Oh, I do want to find out anything about, because I had a lovely time at Epic Universe, and we can talk about it if you want. But it sounds like you don't. I was very impressed with it. I kind of like it. There was Epic. It was Epic Drive and Epic. There was Epic, and
Epic Fury. It was at Epic Fury.
It wasn't Epic Fury. But I wrote. I don't know if you remember. I wrote a book called Epic Content Marketing.
I remember
second edition with Mr. Brian Piper. Hey, Brian.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I have a kind of a thing with the word epic.
Yeah.
It's close to me. So when I was going around, I felt right at home.
Oh, well, that's good. You are epic. You are epic. So it's probably why you felt at home.
It's not about me. This is about you. I want to know, you took South by Southwest Edu by storm.
Yep.
And you said that there were a lot of people interested in your topic.
There were. I'll mention two things which are just so heartening. One was, so this was South by Southwest. The sort of literally as we record, South by Southwest is starting. The what everybody thinks of as South by, the music festival, all the .coms and all the things are happening now. The preview to that is something called South by Southwest EDU, right? So it's 12,000 people basically invade Austin, set up very much like South by is, with, events all over town, basically, in all the different hotels. So it's very much like a festival like that. And it's all geared content toward educators, right? So ironic, it's so funny because the tickets are so expensive. Ironically, most teachers can't afford it. So basically there's something to think about there. But anyway, the audience tends to be a lot of university professors, university teachers, and then entrepreneurial people in training, education fields, right? But it was just fascinating so the key for me was two things. One is just a really nice view into young people. And what I mean by that is that we can often get lost in our own sort of, cohort bubbles. And there was so many young, energetic people who really care about this and were, whether they were teachers or whether they were entrepreneurs or content creators or whoever they were at this event. It was just so many young, energetic, basically people really into the event, really into being there. And I was just struck by that. I have no agenda behind that other than to say, I was just struck by how much energy there was and youth there was. It was great to see. The second was how freaked out right now teachers and educators are about this whole wave of AI that's coming in. And so we were talking about, I was speaking with the American Marketing Association, the CEO, Benny Johnson there, who had invited me to come speak, and basically talking about the future of marketing education specifically. Yeah. And it was called the dynamic future of marketing education, and how AI is affecting that and how everything else is affecting it. So that's what we talked about. It was standing room only in this room. Like it was people are really super interested, and people are really, truly like freaked out about it.
Well, I'm sure it was standing room only because,
nobody knew me.
Mr. Rose.
No. Nobody. I knew nobody there. That's what was so interesting, was nobody that we knew or that we know sort of in our usual class of suspects were there. It's like it was all new people. It was very refreshing.
Well, that's good. We need a little bit of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Nobody wants to listen to us anymore. That's for sure.
That's true.
Well, except they want to listen to you. No. They want to listen to you.
So I have to say, at that event, after the event was over, a woman came up to me and said, I used to listen to you guys back in 2014 and your podcast. I'm so excited to meet you. And I'm like, well, we still do the podcast. And she's like, oh, really? She's thumbing through her phone and she resubscribed right there to our podcast. And so it's like, I don't know if that means we're doing a really shitty job of marketing ourselves. Exactly.
It's like, we can't. Yeah. It's like, nobody knows we do this anymore.
Yeah, it's the best kept secret on the internet. Right?
It's like that's we don't want to get. Yeah, you don't want too big of an audience.
We don't want to. Yeah,
it'll go right to our heads.
Exactly.
All right, what are we talking about?
We got a great show. We have a great show. We're going to talk at first about Anthropic, and this is the story that we just sort of teased a little bit. Anthropic has a new report on jobs and which jobs are most at danger from the world of AI. And shock of all shocks, Mark Ritson actually wrote about it, and everybody's having a toxic freak out about it. But we're going to use a Ritson article to source that, and Joe and I will talk about that. Then Meta has acquired moltbook, and so you'll remember moltbook is the social media network, the AI sort of pure AI social media network. And Meta acquired it because, of course, they did. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then we'll talk also about LinkedIn and how it's now the top source or a top source for chatbot answers and what that might mean for us as content creators and marketers, et cetera. We'll get to our marketing winners and losers. And my winner is I'm going to talk about Takovaz. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct. Takovaz, how they're the content marketing winner, really, this way. You're going to talk about Coinbase and as a marketing winner.
Oh, we got two winners.
Two winners this week.
That never happens.
That's right.
Let's go. Yeah.
Then we'll get to our rants and raves, and it's commentary. It's neither a rant nor a rave. It's really commentary over an article that talks about how we might actually be seeing the beginning of the SaaS apocalypse with regard to AI. Some interesting financial sort of early shocks going through the marketplace that I'll talk about there. And you're going to talk about a fun rant on the U.S. baseball team in the World Classic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. I cannot believe it. And I'm going to talk about it.
It is. It's good stuff.
Yes.
It's good stuff.
It's good. All right.
Let's jump into this. This is going to come courtesy of Ad Week, our big story here. Although there are a lot of places talking about it, but I picked this story specifically because I wanted to bitch. And so the Ad Week story written by none other than Mark Ritson, who we've talked about a couple of times on the recent shows, and he must be getting paid by the word now because he has certainly upped his writing game. The headline here is 65% of marketing jobs may not survive AI, says the headline. Anthropic's latest findings suggest AI is hollowing out the core tasks that built modern marketing. Here's what you can do about it. And Mark opens up by saying, the more AI evolves, the more apparent it becomes that marketing is just not susceptible. It is peculiarly vulnerable to its machinations. That was confirmed last week when Anthropic, the cerebral company behind Claude, launched its new labor marketing impact report. It's not at all what the impact report says, but let's talk about that in a moment. Every conversation, says Mark, is about AI, and marketing asks the wrong question. He says, the wrong question is, does AI write better ads? Do consumers accept it? Will Cannes Lion need a rethink? But all of that is barely 20% of what marketers do. The other 80% looks even more vulnerable to the approaching AI threat, says Ritson. Think about the full scope of marketing, commissioning, interpreting consumer research, analysis data, sizing markets, segmentation, brand strategy, positioning, pricing, customer journey mapping, NPD, forecasting, briefing, budgeting. Much of it is already in trouble. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, says Mark. Anyway, he goes on to talk about the report itself taking 65% of the tasks away from marketing. And then he says he's got some reasons to explain all of it. Basically, that content is marketing and marketing is content for his particular view. And then what can you do about it? He says, well, basically, he said, you've got two things to do. One is to get a better job than you have now in marketing, because the early positions are going to go away. And then he said, secondly, is to go learn how to use AI fluently. So I think you can probably start to glean.
You hate that answer. That's the answer that you hate the most.
I do.
You got to go get good at AI if you want to survive the AI apocalypse.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I will bring that back to my talk at South by. But anyway, what is your take on this, my good sir? What do you have to say to Mr. Ritson and his conclusion that 65% of marketing jobs may not survive AI?
I did want to point out it's an interesting research study, because Anthropic goes through and
it's a fantastic research study.
Here's how we know that people are using it, and then they go, here's the theoretical coverage. I'll actually put this back on the screen here. So like, this is an interesting chart, which can be a little deceiving, because if you're in like transportation, you're like, hey, I'm protected because it's going to be fine. And then if you're in business and finance, you're like, oh my God, everything's going to be gone. Like, it's the end of the world. But the one thing that I thought was interesting was this 4 explainers that he put in. Like, why is this happening? So like, why will marketing go through the highest amount of disruption, for the most part, of the, like, similar to business and finance and accounting and whatever.
Yeah.
And he says, first, marketing work is unusually language heavy, and LLMs eat text. Second, marketing sits at the intersection of creativity and process. AI does this very well. Marketing functions have been chronically under-resourced for years. That's actually very insightful, I thought. And fourth, one can find oneself in the marketing profession with no formal training in it. And you can look at me. I don't have any formal marketing training. I have publishing training. I have not been trained in marketing, which, whatever. Tomato. But this is what I wrote down as I was reading this on the plane from Orlando. Why I think a lot, and I think that you and I are kind of sitting at different places on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there would be a landslide of change in marketing positions quickly, except for the human friction. Humans are involved in these. Everything takes longer with human beings involved. But marketing is most susceptible, in my opinion, because leadership in most enterprises that we've dealt with don't put value into marketing. They don't. They never have. So that's always like, oh, well, what does marketing do? Or they think they can do marketing. Like, do this ad. I want this. I want to be on the cover of this, whatever. And so you get that feeling where, okay, they don't see the value. They don't know what's done. Immediately that lends itself to be replaced. Second, we've always seen the whole move toward outsourcing. How can we outsource more of our marketing people? In any environment that you're thinking about outsourcing at all, here comes AI. I mean, absolutely, because if you already don't see the value in it and you want to then outsource it and say it's not core to what we do with our products or services or whatever, then that is something that AI can absolutely take over. So those are the 2 that I was thinking of. So I think we can get into the details of, well, is this the end times or whatever? What I'm thinking more than anything else is, because it's not valued or understood by management, this is a bigger threat than some of the others that were listed in the research.
Yeah. So I love that response. And I think I 100% agree with you on it's so funny because the backbone of my talk at South by to these educators, marketing educators, was built on attention of, I basically said what you just said, right? Which is, most leadership in companies don't really understand marketing, but also believe, it's like there's a trope, there's a classic trope in marketing, which is everybody has 2 jobs. Theirs in marketing, right? Yeah. Because everybody wants to comment on what the website should look like or what this ad should look like. Everybody's got an opinion, right, on what the creative parts of marketing are. But everybody also, the business also believes that marketing is ultimately a tax or should be treated like a science. Therefore, there's some sort of algorithm that they could just figure it out of, if I put X dollars in, I get Y dollars out. And of course, that never turns out to be true. So marketing tends to be seen as a tax. So it's always seen as like, how efficiently can I do this? How much more can I do for less? Thus, when something like AI comes along, just exactly to your point, it becomes, oh, here's a way I can optimize my science, right? Here's a way I can optimize the math of marketing to get the most for the least. And of course, that's not what marketing is. And everything that Ritson points out with regard to market segmentation, the idea of journey mapping, the idea of doing personas, the idea of doing strategy, of market sizing, of research, of all those things. Yes, those are all things that AI can typically help you do, but every single one of those things that he listed requires a human judgment, requires human discernment, requires human creativity in order to do anything about it. In other words, AI can tell you the answer, but it can't tell you, help you understand whether that answer is good, average, or horrible. You have to have the judgment to be able to take action on that and do the thing. And so when we start looking at it, that's the first thing. So 100% agreed. The problem that I have with this article is that it is following the same sort of bumper sticker bullshit logic that seems to be the narrative right now, which is like, the sky is falling, and continuing that narrative. It's not even true. Like the report, if you actually go read the report, which I did, Anthropic's report is really good. It's a really good research report. Everybody should go read it. But understand what they're actually identifying here. What they identify is something that they call observed exposure. And they actually define what observed exposure is. In the report, they say right at the top of the report, observed exposure, the way we're meaning it here, is meant to quantify of those tasks that LLMs could theoretically speed up, which ones are actually seeing automated usage in professional settings. And so you go, great. All they're doing is they're identifying which tasks could be automated by people. In other words, which ones could LLMs actually help people accomplish? They are not saying that they can do it instead of people. They are saying which ones could be helped to be automated through people actually doing them. And then specifically, they mention in that little table that's in both the article as well as the report, marketing research and marketing specialists. And if you actually look at the table, what it says, it identifies, is that the way they're defining marketing research and marketing specialism is basically creating graphic reports, automating the text of reporting, looking at creating marketing reports with presentations and all those kinds of things. That's all they're identifying, is that 65% of those particular tasks could be automated theoretically by LLMs because they're actually seeing that usage in professional settings, which is very different than 65% of marketing could be wiped out with LLMs, right?
Sure.
But of course, that's not a sexy headline, and doesn't get the clicks that Ritson wants to get here. So he actually spins the narrative in a very, I think, irresponsible way. That's my problem with this particular article.
You could be right. I mean, it was a little bit of the sky is falling with this article, no doubt about it. I think the most interesting thing in this article was actually not the Anthropic data. It was the Bureau of Labor Statistics and I think the Intelligence is the group that did this analysis of marketing job postings. Active marketing job postings in the U.S. fell by 7% year on year, 15% quarter on quarter. In Q2 2025, it looks like that's continuing. Voluntary quit rate has fallen to 2%, the lowest in a decade. So basically, that means that the new positions aren't available like they used to be. Though these entry-level positions, that seems to be a real thing, and people aren't moving. They're a little bit. I think to your point, like a lot of people.
Job hugging is a thing. Job hugging is a thing. There's no doubt about it.
They're definitely doing that.
There's no doubt about it. But interestingly, so we just did research. CMI just did research on this, right? So for its salary and career management for content marketers. And I'm spoiling a little bit of the result because this is research that's not quite out yet. But I'll tell you this: one of the headlines coming out is that whole job thing, the job hugging thing, is real, but it's not that AI is taking away people. What's happening is that businesses, because they're seeing the narrative that they should be able to do more with less, what they're doing is they're not hiring younger people, and they're not replacing those younger people with AI. They're replacing those younger people and those tasks into jobs that are more senior. In other words, they're just asking more marketers to do more things. And the marketers are basically going, yes, I'll do those things. I'll do those activities. So basically, we're blaming AI replacement for what is ostensibly just a job aggregation, bait and switch by companies. They're basically asking marketers to do more tasks themselves. And AI is not replacing those tasks. Now, some places AI is actually helping those marketers do more things, but that's a different result then, and so I buy the results that you're seeing from the research that basically says job listings are down for entry level positions. Jobs are actually, those entry level positions are disappearing. But it's not that those tasks are disappearing. Those tasks are getting subsumed into just smaller teams. And so that pendulum will eventually swing back, because ultimately what we're finding is that in other research, AI actually adds to the task. In order to take advantage of AI to be any good in marketing, you're actually adding more tasks. So at some point that pendulum swings back to be able to take advantage of the wonderful things that AI can do for you, such as market segmentation, such as persona journey mapping, all those things that you're not doing because you're doing all these things manually. So I think it's the problem I have with an article like this is that it tends to frame the argument to say, hey, you need to go get good at driving a horse and buggy because cars are going to take your job. And it's like, it's just this, it's the advice part that actually grinds my gears, I guess.
I totally get that. I think the advice at the end was questionable, except for the fact that he said, like, basically, I think at the end, the last comment was, besides, learn to use the AI tools fluently, but then, or do things the AI can't replicate: client relationships, institutional knowledge, management capabilities, or the ability to walk in a room and make shit happen. That's probably the best advice that he could have given.
That's great.
The whole
he
thing.
Should have just stopped there.
That's what we should be focusing on.
Exactly.
I think that if I'm a new marketer coming in, here's where I guess maybe I'm thinking a little bit different than you are. If I'm a new marketer or I want to go into marketing, I would significantly question it right now, because marketing has to, what we do is as marketers has to completely change for us to survive as a practice, because there's no doubt in my mind that 99% of the things that marketers are doing right now, LLMs, thousands of the collection of data and wisdom will be able to do all those things. There's no doubt in my mind that will happen. So when all those little tasks that we're talking about right now, we're focusing on all those stupid little things, those things will be done by a computer. What's left? I want to focus on what's left. Like, what's the really important stuff that a marketer needs to do?
And that's exactly right. And that's the tension there that I see as being so important. I'll give you one other data point. So on the panel, I was sitting with two very esteemed educational professionals, one from Columbia, who is also the dean of the business school there. And then the other, she's a marketing professor, I believe at the University of Texas. And they were both saying on the panel that, because the question came up, like, what are you getting asked from the Googles and the Amazons and the big Fortune 500 and Fortune 100? Like, when they're coming to you and saying, we need this, what are they saying to you? And they're basically, what they're hearing from the senior leadership at these Fortune 100, Fortune 1000 companies isn't, we need people with more technical certifications or Google certifications or HubSpot certifications or AI certifications. They're saying we need people who can create relationships, who can think critically, who can think strategically, who know how to have relationships in interpersonal relationships, who can actually look people in the eye, who can speak publicly, who can tell stories. They're saying all those soft skills are what they're looking for in talent. And that disconnect, which is what I pointed out, was that's great that the senior leadership in these companies are going to universities saying, please give us young people who have these soft skills. But that's not what's playing out at the street level in marketing departments. What's playing out at street level as the marketing departments is exactly what you just said. All of those people are basically, right now, configuring technology, pushing buttons, doing things that AI will ultimately be able to replace. And so and this comes back to your whole thing about, does leadership actually understand what marketing is supposed to be doing? Not what they're really doing, but what they're supposed to be doing. Can we create an environment where marketing, all those people who are now trained to push buttons, configure technology, look at SEO, do all those things that AI is going to ultimately be good at replacing task-wise, and transform through training and education and development those people into creative, critical thinkers who can develop personal relationships and all the things that AI can't replace.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's where I want to spend some time. And it's getting good at AI thing, because AI is taking our stuff, just doesn't make any sense to
Right. That's right. Exactly.
I think you should want to do it because it's interesting. Like, there's other things. Like, don't just do it to save your job. Like that. Like, there's other ways, and I think that that's where I want to see people like really, like if you are working on an assembly line when the if you handmade cars, would it make how like if you understand? Oh, now I'm going to go work on a line and understand that doesn't equate. It doesn't
Right.
make any sense to me.
That's right.
Like when all those things happen, I don't know.
That's
Anyways.
right.
Okay.
All right.
Hey.
All right. That was fun. Okay. Yeah. That was an interesting conversation. Let me see if I can segue this. Speaking of being an outlaw, no, that didn't work. Anyway, I could pay some bills.
We'll just pay the bills. Yeah.
They said truth don't sell in a town of plastic. I'm just a dreamer lost in the static. Broke as a bottle on a gravel floor, kicking the teeth of a locked up door. Pride don't feed you when the crop is thin, and freedom don't polish a MacBook skin. So I'm paying the bills. Don't need a permit for the way I feel. I ride my own line, let them say what they will. High-tech, outlaw, low-down skill. Yeah, I'm paying the bills. I'm paying the bills. Stubborn jaw and an iron will. Call it selling out, I call it grit. I ain't bowing down, I'm just making cool shit. Yeah, I'm paying the bills.
Sometimes getting schooled in content is just what you need, and HubSpot makes impossible growth impossibly easy for their customers. Here's the perfect example. Morehouse College needed to reach new students with fresh, engaging content. But with a massive 900-page website, even the tiniest updates took 30 minutes to publish. Breeze, HubSpot's collection of AI tools, helped them write and optimize their content in a fraction of the time. The results? 30% more page views, and visitors now spend 27% more time on their site. Ready for impossible growth like this? Visit HubSpot.com today. Would you like to go back to school? Well, let me introduce you to the Marketing School podcast, hosted by Eric Sue and Neil Patel. It brings you 10 minutes of actionable marketing advice every single day. Get the right tips to take your business to the next level and get to work right away. You can find Marketing School Podcast wherever you follow your favorite pods.
A country boy can survive, but sometimes he's got to monetize. Hell, even an outlaw's got to pay for the bandwidth. Paying the bills. Send the wire, son. Paying the bills.
Send a wire, son.
So many things.
Yeah.
The microphone cords are just going into the dirt.
Yeah, it's so good.
And I going anywhere. And I realized I was carrying a guitar that was shaped like luggage. Like there was
no, you're carrying a guitar case that is a guitar. Which is so great. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. And my favorite is the fact that when I'm smoking in the bar, and all of a sudden smoke comes up like behind my like everything.
It's like you've got gills or something. It's
I know,
coming out of your pores. If only that was the way it was.
Damn, that's fun.
That would be.
That is just so.
If you could smoke and then the rest of it would just come out of everywhere else.
Oh my god! Even in the beginning, the very opening shot where the MacBook is basically smoking.
It's a good one. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to top.
That one's tough to top. I mean, this one, because it's my genre, because it's. I mean, this is totally my genre. It's like that one was totally. So you can feel it. You can feel it. So yeah, we'll figure out what April's gonna be. But yeah, this was good.
I could do a ABBA.
Oh god, that's pretty good. That's pretty damn good.
I could do and you can get that sound too.
I think so. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, we could figure it out.
Gimme. Midnight. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we I don't know where you want to take the show now.
Okay. Well, let's go right to this very quickly here. Just we can cover it super quick, which is basically Meta has acquired moltbook. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is just because moltbook got so famous so fast, it totally went viral. Where if you don't know what moltbook is, it's basically where moltbook was created by the guy who created OpenClaw, I believe it's called.
Yep, that's right.
And OpenClaw was acquired by OpenAI. It was an acqui-hire of the guy who created it, but then Meta came in and then bought the big experiment that OpenClaw was famous for, which was this sort of all these AIs basically on a Reddit style community, basically talking. It's a social media network basically where they were all talking, and it was sort of a spectator event, right? You could go in and look at moltbook and sort of see how AI agents were talking with one another and conspiring against humans, and sometimes, all sorts of things. It was fascinating. So the article we'll link to is a CNN article, but basically it says Meta, the company behind some of the world's most popular social media platforms, just scooped up a new site for bots. Meta has acquired moltbook, the social media network where AI agents interact with one another autonomously, the company said in a statement. They're competing with rivals like OpenAI for both talent and users, and as AI expands. And so moltbook became the talk of Silicon Valley last month, racking up millions of registered users within days of its launch. Some in the industry saw it as a major leap because it demonstrated what can happen when AI agents socialize with one another. Others said the site is full of sham agents, AI slop, and security risks, and should be viewed skeptically. Meta's acquisition, and I'm just curious here, as the article goes on to sort of basically round up and say they acquired it for we don't know why. Do you have any, like, what does Meta have any interest in this site for? I just don't get it.
They're getting some people with it, right? Or they're getting just the thing? Because I thought it was partially an acqui-hire too. I thought they left some people to work on moltbook when OpenClaw was purchased.
Oh, maybe there are people there. I didn't get that. I didn't get that there were people that came along with it. I got that they got the platform. So without that, there's two things. One, low risk gamble. See what you got. If it turns into something, I mean, if they threw some dollars at it, no big deal. Sure.
The second thing that came to mind for whatever reason, and it always does when stupid things like this happen, is the globe.com. I always think of the globe.com because I think that's a blast from the past.
When
I think of the internet bubble, it was always, that was the pinnacle when the globe.com went public and shot up to 65 or 95 or whatever dollars it was per share. And it was nothing. They had no revenue, no nothing. It was basically a website.
Yep.
And we're like, whoa, and that thing. And so I keep looking at these little things and saying, oh, is that another signal that we're about ready to implode?
Yeah,
with all this stuff. But if it's a low risk gamble, I mean, they've got plenty of cash. And
it doesn't say how much. I mean, it'll have to be disclosed at some point how much they bought it for.
Does a sniff of desperation, I guess, is the question. They do. They are. I mean, I think you could probably say that when you think about who the leaders are in AI, Meta's not at the tip of your tongue right now, even though they've been doing it forever. They're not there. So maybe they always feel, hey, we're going to take this. We're going to take that. I don't.
I think it's very interesting.
There's
maybe they bought it for a bucket of pucks, right? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, maybe they didn't spend very much money. So it was like,
I think they got a call. They got a call from somebody and said, hey, do you want it, Mark?
Yeah, we don't need it. Yeah.
And Mark said, how much is it going to cost us this? He's like, just do it.
Right.
Just do it and
get some PR.
Get some PR out of it.
Yeah, that's not a bad theory at all. Yeah. All right, so let's move on now to our last story here before we get to winners and losers, and we can cover very briefly here just before we get to winners and losers. So this is coming courtesy of Axios. This is LinkedIn is becoming a top source for AI chatbots. I think surprising exactly nobody. But basically, the article opens up by saying LinkedIn has become one of the top sources for AI-powered chatbots like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, according to new data from marketing platform Profound. AI search is rewriting the rules of executive and brand visibility, raising the stakes for how leaders show up online. Since November, LinkedIn citation frequency has doubled, and it is now the #1 domain cited in professional search queries. LinkedIn posts, long-form articles, and newsletters accounted for 35% of all LinkedIn citations within ChatGPT, while profiles are cited 14.5% of the time, according to Profound. Community and creator-driven platforms like Reddit, Wikipedia, and YouTube have all emerged as some of the most commonly cited sources, precisely because they host real conversational human insight that models latch onto when looking for answering nuanced queries. Fascinating here. I think this is, I mean, I am finding tremendous value in LinkedIn right now, even despite some of the criticisms that have been laid. I don't know how you feel about this, but this is, I mean, this is a yet another reason, especially if you're in B2B, to really double down on LinkedIn in terms of getting yourself out there and building a bit of a personal brand.
So yes, I would totally agree with that. In this, if this continues, whatever this is,
right,
we know that we've got, I think we've got a limited time to become known. And it revolves mostly around.
What do you mean by known, Joe? What do you mean by known? Sorry,
you know what? You want the truth? You can't handle the truth.
What do you mean by known, man?
So yeah. Anyways, thank you for that segue. You want to be.
That's an inside baseball joke that only a few people are going to get.
Yeah. As an expert for something. And you do that around a lot of textual content today. So LinkedIn is perfect for that. So this, I mean, you're talking about, it's conversations and whatever, they're Reddit, whatever. It's a lot of text. Yeah. There's a lot of text, and LLMs they eat text. We just talked about that in the last article.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's the way to do it. So if you're going to focus on, I want to be an expert in this area, to do that, I've got to regularly publish textual content because the LLMs like that. Plus, we're giving a little bit more leverage to the individual. And if you don't know, believe me, you look at, who's leading the top 50 podcasts? Who's leading the top 50 media sites? Yep. They're more individuals than brands, folks. Yeah. So that's what's happening right now. And exactly. LinkedIn plays to both of those.
Yep. That's 100% right. That's 100% right. And it's the place to get the fastest traction on teaching LLMs. This is something I've been thinking a lot about lately, is sort of the extent, when you think about extending your content footprint, we immediately think about, we need to get more new content out on all these platforms. And one of the things that I've been encouraging my clients, because it's something that I realized, is that you look at professional directories, your bio on webinar websites, your LinkedIn profile, the posts that you're putting on LinkedIn. It's like, think of all the things that you're teaching LLM about you, and think about the last time you went and updated all those things. And I'm living this personally right now. I think I've talked about this before, but this is a personal challenge for me, because what I have spent the last 10 years, arguably, teaching the internet is that, I'm a teacher, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I train people, I, keynote speech sometimes, but blah, 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 blah. What the LLMs don't know about me is that I'm a consultant. And actually, the consulting part is the most important part of what I'm trying to teach the LLMs, because that's where I want to show up. But I don't show up there. And the reason I don't show up there is because I haven't been teaching the LLMs that thing. So I have to now really put concerted effort into making sure that when I'm writing or when I'm out there talking on my extended footprint, that I'm teaching the LLMs what it is I want them to know about me. And that's a different content strategy than we're used to, right? Which is, it's that clarity, it's that consistency of basically making sure that you're setting yourself up for clarity on what you're teaching that will be ultimately synthesized and regurgitated by an AI.
What's your title on LinkedIn? Does it say Robert Rose, content marketing consultant?
No, it doesn't, and it certainly will. It 100% will. Right. So I need to make all these changes. Right. So I'm way too cute with my headlines. Right. I'm way too. So there's some of it I won't change. Right. There's some of it I won't change because it pertains to the way I like to position myself and create distinction. The fact that I like my title as chief troublemaker, for example, is I'm not going to change that to marketing consultant, right? Because that's just stupid. But but the places where I'm teaching those LLMs like who I am and what I'm about, I do need to be much more explicit and on the nose rather than trying for the cute headline or the double entendre or the joke or whatever it is.
You might just, I know it's boring, but you might just want to say marketing consultant.
Yeah,
I've always liked the chief troublemaker thing, but I mean, the LLMs don't get the inside.
I know. See, that's the,
you gotta throw them a bone.
That's the tension. I totally hear what you're saying.
You gotta throw them a bone, and you gotta be nicer to the AIs, because you're not always nice to the AIs, and they know when you're not nice.
Oh, I'm nice. No. I say please and thank you all the time. I say please and thank you all the time. I'm nice to them. Claude's my friend.
They're gonna get you.
Claude's
I'm gonna get you.
Friend.
I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Let's go.
We're gonna get to our marketing winners, and we're getting punchy. We're getting punched like punch. We're getting punchy.
Oh, jeez.
Marketing winners and losers, where Joe and I pick a winner from the last week of marketing or a loser from the last week of marketing. Would you like to go first with your Coinbase?
Mine is really quick, and I just saw this. Coinbase is coming out with a new, let me see if I can bring this up here, a new commercial for the Oscars. So it'll be for this Sunday, and it's basically about an NPC character. So if you go through, I watched it a couple times. So basically there's the regular business person that's in line to part of all the other NPCs that are going on, and something happens and it breaks out. It's almost like Free Guy, like Ryan Reynolds' Free Guy with the movie he was in. But he's like, everybody's doing the same financial thing, and all of a sudden this NPC character breaks out, finds freedom, and is outside the system. And they're saying that everybody else is inside this system. You have to break out, and it's cute.
Nice.
It's cute, and it's memorable, and I like that. What's also interesting that has nothing to do with this rave is you're not on Coinbase, are you? Do you have anything on Coinbase?
I have the Coinbase wallet. I have which I know is sort of separate from the company itself, but
if you go into
I have the Coinbase wallet.
Yeah, so if you have the Coinbase app, and this is true.
I had the Coinbase app, but I don't have any money in it right now.
This is true of a lot of the other, and this is back to my whole prediction market gambling thing that I always talk about. But you can now on Coinbase, you can do any of the prediction markets like you can do on Kalshi or Polymarket.
Is that right? You can do that?
I was shocked. I couldn't, but like I'm going through and I'm like, oh, okay, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, whatever. Okay, then now you got futures. It's okay. Then you go down and it's like, you can bet on, they don't say bet, but you can put something on any of these current events that are going on right now.
So it's a subset of maybe what would be on like on those marketplaces.
It's basically Polymarket baked into Coinbase.
Is it Polymarket baked in, or is it their own thing?
I think it's their own thing. And I don't know. I just saw it the other day, but I'm like, I just don't like it.
It doesn't help your crypto sort of argument for sure.
No, well, the issue is that your Coinbases and all your big banks, they're all getting into it. The prediction market is just going to be, it's going to suck the money out of the younger generations, and they're going to get every bit of it. And the big banks and the big institutions, they see this happening and they're going to go after it too.
Yeah,
so
for sure. Yeah.
Anyways, that's beside the point. If you watch the Oscars, see if you watch the video, or we'll put it in the show notes and see if you like it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
All right.
Good stuff.
What do you got?
I got a similar thing, actually. Well, not similar, but since that it's content, this is we'll link to Marketing Dive, an article about Tecovas. They make boots in Texas, and they're following up this Super Bowl play that they had with basically a 14-minute short film, and it's got Michael Shannon in it. It's got Sissy Spacek in it. It's quite good, actually. It's called Love Letter to Texas. And it's just really quite good. And from a content marketing perspective, it's just such a great play that I loved it. It's like, as they said, the quote that they have in the article, basically, a 30-second ad can help move product, but doesn't always connect with people. Hopefully some of these things will. And that's, so you're trying to connect and build trust and build connection with your audience. Content marketing is a great way to do that. And go watch this little film, this Love Letter to Texas. As someone who's from Texas, it was just awesome to say. I just absolutely loved this as a component of a bigger campaign.
I will have to watch it. I've not watched it. I spent some time doing that. I thought it was interesting because when I saw the ad, I didn't really make the connection that there was more to that story. And now that I see that they're going on, I mean, it seems like that's that's the best use of a Super Bowl ad or a spot like that.
Yeah,
is to continue that conversation.
Exactly.
Tell
it's
that
so
story.
Good.
They've been able to do that.
It's the introduction to the story, right? And they just introduced this story, and now they're paying it off with this little short film that they've put on YouTube. And they basically, they got professionals to do it, right? It's like, all the people involved here are very talented.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
it's just really good. And they filmed it in one of my, I grew up going to this place called Marfa, Texas, which any Texans out there, you'll know Marfa. It's a tiny little town in the middle of nowhere, Texas. And it is, when you think of like, No Country for Old Men or anything like that, that's Marfa that you're thinking about. It's an amazing little place in West Texas. It's literally cowboy town. So it was awesome.
Always like dust in the background.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. All right. Now let's get very quickly to our rants and raves, where Joe and I go off on a little bit of a rant or a little bit of a rave over something that makes us feel like we're getting beaten up like Punch, or something that makes us feel like we have our plushie from Punch. You should go watch some Punch videos.
I'm not gonna.
Yes, you should. You should totally watch it.
I will.
Who's a big fan?
I will be dumber.
Who's a big fan of Punch is our good friend Ann Hanley. She's a good friend. She knows the Punch. She knows Punch.
You're gonna guilt me into it because Ann likes it. Oh my!
Yeah, totally. You should go see it. Right? You
got to keep up. I can't believe you're doing that.
You got to keep up with what the influencers are doing, man.
All the cool cats are watching Punch.
All right. Do you want? Let me go first because I want to hear your U.S. baseball thing. So let me just, because mine's very quickly here. So the article that we'll link to here, I just think it's a good reading for you. So go read this, especially if you're really interested in this whole SaaS, software as a service, idea of AI replacing SaaS, et cetera, which we've talked about on the show before. I'm like, it's, there's a lot of weird, hyperbole getting done here. There's a lot of knee-jerk reaction that's happening, but rightly or wrongly, there's some really interesting things that are happening in a very subtle, and this article sort of covers it. It's a great article that really told it. And basically the sort of canary in the coal mine, if you will, or whatever small signal you want to put here, is basically BlackRock, which is obviously one of the largest institutional investment companies on the planet. They just told investors they're not allowed to have their money back. And basically the private credit industry right now is like freaking out. There's a whole shockwave being sent through the private credit equity market that is basically saying they've started to see a number of requested withdrawals from private credit that has been funding a lot of these software as a service solutions that are out there, big and small software as a solutions. And basically BlackRock, which has been financing a lot of these things, are going, yeah, no, we're kind of done right now for the moment on all this kind of stuff. And it's not just BlackRock, it's others as well that are starting to really put the tightening into the private equity market on how much money is available for this kind of stuff, which basically is going to sort of cause shockwaves all the way down the food chain here into these software companies that have been funded in many ways by private equity. And it'll be really interesting to start to see this happen in the next, call it 5 to 7 months, to when this really starts to take effect, when the burn starts to happen, especially in the AI space, and especially in a lot of the startup space. So there, it's a little geeky. I get you in finance, and it's a little geeky in terms of looking at how alternative finance really works in sort of the startup world these days, especially in the private equity markets. But it's a fascinating read, and it could just be signaling the beginning of the this quote unquote SaaS apocalypse, rightly or wrongly.
This is not nothing. This is not, they had to basically tell a lot of people and $600 million that people were not getting their money.
Yeah, that's right.
It also tells you that a lot of people are trying to get their money out.
Exactly.
So yeah, a lot of these stocks were down, and it's not just them. Blue Owl was involved in one too. And
yeah,
when they're just writing down things,
people forget how much money is actually in the startup space that isn't in the public markets, right? It's how much is,
private credit, they said, is a $1.8 trillion. I mean,
yeah,
1.8 trillion with a T.
Yeah.
Yes. So like 2 Elons.
Yeah. So if you're interested in that topic, go read this article that we'll link in the show notes, because it's an education for sure.
It's fascinating and scary, but again, yeah, it's like these little things. Is that a Lehman Brothers thing, or is it something that's
right?
Like,
exactly.
That's the kind of thing. All right. So mine has nothing to do with marketing, but I thought it was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in sports. Now, just to cut to the end here, USA did make the quarterfinals of the World Baseball Classic, but when they were 3-0 and Italy was 3-0, they both had to play their game again to see who would get in. Before that game, the manager, Mark DeRosa, for the U.S. team, didn't know the rules, didn't know exactly how you got in and how you didn't. He thought they already qualified for the quarterfinals when they were 3-0, and they did not yet. There were many scenarios where they would not make it. So he not only gave a lot of his big power hitters the night off when they played Italy, but he told a lot of the people on the team that they had made it.
Right.
And there was they were partying. They were partying on the bus. He said it. This is not like, oh, did it really happen? He said he was on an interview that said, oh, we already punched our ticket. So he already believed he was in. And he said they were dragging the next day because the guys were partying. What a horrible, horrible mistake this guy made. Now, luckily, Italy bailed him out, because the next day Italy beat Mexico, and then USA came in as the second winner in that pool. So they made it to the quarterfinals. But there could have been, if Mexico would have won.
Can you imagine if
Mexico would have won 3-2 or something like that? They would not have made it.
Would be out. Yeah,
they would have been out. And I'm just like, it's it seems to be happening a lot, Robert, where you get people that do things and they don't know the rules, or they don't know what they want out of it anyways when they do things. So it's just like, I just like, I don't know, not that I'm getting political or anything, but I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't
imagine somebody in a position of authority actually making a rash decision about something that could affect the entire economy. I wonder what that could be.
Or the
Makes you
world.
think.
Or the world.
Think. Yeah, makes you think.
It's kind of weird what's going on. But
so
anyways, but in other news, my youngest and I, we are going to watch the finals of the World Baseball Classic.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Next week in Miami. We get to do all the fun stuff. So that'll be interesting. And I don't know if, I would love to see a USA-Italy matchup. But it seems like right now, if I had to guess, Japan and Shohei Ohtani,
Japan is
probably favored in this. By the way, we haven't talked about it, but what a great marketing Major League Baseball is trying to sort of do what NFL has been doing and expand. MLB came up with this whole World Baseball Classic. And
it's really good.
It's a great marketing initiative to get more people interested from around the world. Baseball. So there you go.
100%. All right. What do you got? What do you got for me?
That's it. Yeah. So we will have a regular broadcast next week, but for the beginning of next week and St. Patrick's Day, I will be in Miami watching this baseball game.
To Miami.
So, so that should be fun. Are you doing anything fun for St. Patty's Day?
No.
You don't have corned beef and sauerkraut.
I don't celebrate. I'm among those
green beer or green.
No.
Green
First of all, I'm Scottish, so there you go. That settles that immediately. The second thing is no.
Have you ever had green beer?
I have.
Oh,
I have.
See?
I've seen the Green River in Chicago. I've had green beer. I've worn the shamrocks. Yeah. And I got pinched because I wasn't wearing green. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad I brought it up. I brought it up. Right.
I tell you this. I do have one prized possession that I typically wear only on St. Patrick's Day. When I did a little work for General Mills back in the day, the guy who I was working with there gave me a classic Lucky Charms t-shirt, like official t-shirt of Lucky Charms with the little thing on it and everything. And I still to this day have that t-shirt and I love it. And of course it's green. Yeah.
That's a good one. That's good. But you didn't have to go like all negative on the
that's all right.
You didn't have to.
That's all right. I'll get some mail on that, I'm sure.
Or not. All right.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate you hanging in there. We will be back, as Joe mentioned, next week with a regular show. And until we see you next week, just remember, everybody, it's your story to tell. Tell it well. We'll see you next week on This Old Marketing. Hey, thanks a lot for making it this far in this week's episode, and thank you all for being a part of This Old Marketing. You can check out all the show notes of what we talked about today at thisoldmarketing.com, and it's also where you can leave us a review or a voicemail. We need those reviews and comments on whichever platform you follow us on. And if you haven't followed the podcast, please go do that and make sure you catch the latest and greatest episodes every Friday morning. We're on Apple and Spotify and all your other favorite podcatchers, of course, but we'd love it if you went over and subscribed to us on YouTube. That's right, YouTube. youtube.com/@thisoldmarketing. We'll see you again next week, folks, with another episode of This Old Marketing.